31, 30 and a half. $30 and a quarter. Let's go in that way. Well, I got a couple of scraps here from industry. I think it's where they stamp something out of a truck for them. Anyway, I'm going to utilize that for my motor lift. I hope. Anyway, I got some ideas. The original motor lift doesn't have a very good locking mechanism for keeping the motor up when you're at idle. And I'm going to make this a little more convenient, maybe a little more secure. To be honest with you, the drawings don't illustrate this very good, and I don't know exactly how the original works. It may be better than what I think, but I'm going to make my own. Had a rod clamp with a shoulder bolt, drilled a hole through it. It's 3/16 rod. Shoulder bolt right there. Let's put it in there and see what it looks like. Okay, I ground that out right there. It needed clearance. I'll show you that in a minute. Here's what I was trying to get. That drops the motor. And then when I raise it up, if I could go just a hair further, that's pretty good though. If I'd go just a hair further, it would be like a toggle and the motor would stay up. I still want some kind of locking mechanism because if I'm starting the motor, I don't want it to suddenly drop. I think that'll work out all right. Probably gonna have to bolt that on there to try it. I sure hope it works, but I don't want to drill holes in that frame unless I know it's gonna work. Well, it almost locked right there. Be nice if it did. I thought I'd put some kind of latch right there to hold it like a safety latch for starting. Well, let's make a brake pedal. I need to invest in a bandsaw. That's better. That's it. Now I just need to weld that there. I'm thinking braze. Braze it and then make some brackets. That'll be my brake pedal. Well, that looks pretty good. I ended up cutting that tube down. I don't know what I was thinking of making it so long like that. Now, I put a kink in the end of this rod to go into that hole on the bottom of that pedal. Just like that. Okay, these brakes are kind of weird. It's got a piece of wood with a piece of steel on it that goes up against the tire. This right here is what this sits in. Goes underneath here. And then this, I already got the other one on there. Right there. Okay, the instructions or the drawings I have on this thing are not real clear on some of this stuff. Like it doesn't say what's stopping this from going back and forth. So what I'm going to do, there's a rod coming from the pedal back to here, and it attaches to the wood right here with a couple of wood screws. It's got a plate. Anyway, I'm going to make a piece of that bracket that goes on the front of this come up through the wood here so that it slides between the slats. It's got to move like that. What I'm doing right now is positioning this metal. Which will be bolted right here. Okay, here's what I did. That's the threaded hole that the actuator rod from the brake pedal goes into. And I offset it like that so that I could drill and thread a hole right there. This is 3/4 inch with a countersink in it. And this bolt is cut off so that there's a little bit of threads beyond the unthreaded portion of the bolt, and that'll bottom out. Screw that in there. Threads bottom out. Tighten it real good, and that allows my brake to slide in the slot between the slats. Show you what I mean. Right there's the brake rod, and there's my guide right there. Here's what it looks like underneath. That's my brake pedal there, and the rod goes back. And there's the block I just made with the guide on the top. And here's, I don't know if it's in focus or not. That's what it slides on. think that's a pretty good way to do that. That makes the angle slightly adjustable. Plenty strong. And the reduced section that goes through this is a good fit and slightly shorter than the thickness of this, so when you tighten the bolts it locks down. Boy, oh boy, pay attention. Time to put the turn arm, or whatever you call it, lever on the end. Well, I took it for a trial run yesterday, and it was pretty exciting. Kind of a disaster too. I had this in the locked up position, like that, and Pole started the motor, and it started up with starting fluid. I got to work on that, but kind of glad it wasn't running right. The starting fluid made it run for maybe 5 seconds, and in that 5 seconds this handle released and the car took off without me. And if I'd had it on video, it's pretty comical, but fortunately the car didn't get hurt. What I want to do, I got vice grips on the steering. I've got interference here. I got to make the steering wheel real small or shorten that arm a little bit. I got to work on the arm anyway. I'd rather have it faster acting. It's when you're sitting in the seat, you got a lot of leverage there, so I don't think it's going to be too hard to lift the motor. So I'm going to move the pivot point up about an inch, and that'll make the arm travel a lot less, and it'll shorten the arm a little bit. Also thought I'd this handle here, shorten that handle so you're pulling up only on the stick, and then the spring will latch it into the notch. And then to release it, you got to reach down to release it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay. locate these holes too. Okay, I'm using a fairly fast drying glue, tacks up quick, wood glue, semi-waterproof. No big deal. These seams here don't have to be strong. There we go. That's my steering wheel, if you haven't guessed. I hope it is. Looks like it'll do good. Well, I shortened this arm a little bit and shortened this lever. Actually, I moved the pivot point down so it's longer on the bottom. The main thing I did is put a bigger spring on that so that it won't pop out when I'm starting the motor. I don't want to be chasing this thing again. Oh, yeah, I like it. It's bolted in place. Well, it's looking pretty good painted. Now all I need is the steering wheel and some padded seats and maybe eventually some fenders and a smaller sprocket on the drive, and we'll be ready for another test run. I believe that's a steering wheel. Okay, let's make a steering wheel. Oh yeah, I like it. Okay, this steering wheel bothers me. I had it about 2 inches shorter, but I was having some obstructions with my knees trying to sit in here, and I'm a small person, so I extended it out, but now it's pretty flexible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remake this block right here a little bigger in dimension, and then I'm going to put a piece of 1/2-inch water pipe through that so the column is encased in water pipe. That'll make it more rigid. It will also allow me to put my throttle adjustment on the steering wheel, which be like an old tractor kind of. Anyway, I'm going to start making this block right now. Okay, I've chucked that piece the other way in the chuck. It's just easier to drill in the lathe. The drill press is not real big, and I got to bore a 7/8 hole. That's going to be my set screw to hold the column. Thought about welding it, but I think a set screw will be fine. Okay, I bored the end of this pipe, and now I'm reaming it for a sleeve bushing, sleeve bearing. That'll do it. Hope that comes through the bore on my lathe. Nope. Ha. Oh, I don't like this manual stuff. Well, I would rather drill this hole in the lathe, but the swing on my lathe is not adequate. So I'm going to have to do it on my drill press. I need to be not quite an inch deep. Well, I got room for my knees now. Steering wheel's a little more solid. Definitely more solid. Works good. I'm going to put a clamp here and a tractor style throttle control. I couldn't find any kind of ratchet. Need like a serrated edge to hold my ratchet or throttle position. So I've got all these hole saws. I got a good deal on them, but I got some duplicate sizes, and this is one of them. So I'm going to use that. Got a couple of 3/4 inch set screw shaft collars. I'm going to turn the inside down to, or open it up to 7/8 of an inch. Got inside the collar, unintended. It'll be all right. Oh, beautiful. I like it. Fast, slow. I like it. Okay, I'm making some throttle linkage here. And really, it's a little trial and error. I may end up making this lever a little longer or shorter, I don't know. Okay, this throttle control right here, I got a coupler right here, and it's going to be basically like a steering rod. This linkage will go right here, hopefully, and underneath will connect with this right here, and this will rotate like that, and there'll be a rod here that goes to the back of the car to control the throttle. So I'm going to put that underneath there. Actually, what I need to do is hopefully cut and bend that right there. Wow. I believe I got it. Right length and the right angle. I'm good. I'm going to use a wood screw to mount that bracket, but I may go back and put a machine screw in. I just want to make sure it works right before I drill all the way through and put a bolt, put a nice hole in the car. I believe that's going to work all right. Yeah, I think red looks better. Well, that about wraps it up. Don't worry, we're going to ride this thing. It just, it's storming outside right now and I don't want to get it wet. But I got the throttle on it. Works really good. I put padded seats on it. I didn't cover that in the video. They're just a piece of plywood with foam rubber and plastic, vinyl, whatever, wrapped around it and stapled to the bottom of it. The axle pins, when I was making them, I really didn't go into that. What I did is I took 1 inch stock and I turned the end down. This is 1 by 1 thick wall tubing. I turned the end down so that it drove into the end of this. It goes in about that far. And then I just tack welded it. That's a terrible weld right there. But it's real strong right there doing it that way. And this end here is turned down to the 3/4 inch that the wheel is. I just turned a nice washer on there and 1/4 20 button head screw there. I plan on putting a little piece of trim right here like the original had. It's going to be fairly involved to make. And I'll probably put some screws in here, maybe decorative screws, because that's just glued. Something here, I don't know if I covered it in the other video. This latch mechanism, the first one I made, the handle was all the way up here, but I had a weak spring on it. And when I was starting the motor, I was having a little trouble with the motor, and I put starting fluid in it, and I gave it a pull, and this latch jumped out of that slot right there, and this thing took off to the neighbor's yard. Fortunately, the engine wasn't running real good, and it went about 30 or 40 feet. But after that, I improved on that latch. Right here, I'll put set screws in there to make that look a little better. Throttle works pretty good. Looks kind of like an old tractor. Anyway, oh, one more thing. This thing's kind of hard to drive. I've got it geared a little bit lower than the original buckboard flyer, but making that wheel slip without killing the engine, I don't have any problem doing it. But I'm thinking I might move this at an angle and then come up this lift lever and put a centrifugal clutch on there. I know that kind of defeats the purpose of the direct drive, and I don't really like centrifugal clutches, but it'll make it way more user friendly for some kids or whatever who want to ride on it. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and stay tuned for some videos of me and my wife riding this thing. Thanks for joining me. Okay, here's a change I made. This engine lift lever used to come straight up, but I put a jog in it like that. And the reason I did that is to make room for this centrifugal clutch. Well, that's something I hesitated to do, but I'm glad I did it. It really makes this thing a pleasure to drive. It was really hard to start if you had a real heavy load, like somebody weighed over 150 pounds as a passenger. And now it starts up really easy. It's also safer. Before, if you hesitated to lift the engine lever or lift the engine up before you tried to stop, it would keep powering the cart despite the fact that you had the brakes on. So overall it performs better. I'm glad I did it. Anyway, let's give this thing a test drive. Okay, I talked my wife into going for a ride with me. It's my wife, Polly.
Hey. This is exciting.
I would have timed that motor back. Oh, I didn't turn it on.